Hi there and welcome. Hi Flavius, thanks for being here as always. So I decided that I really need to stream because I made a promise that I didn't keep, of course, just like I usually do when the promise is related to some sort of streaming event. So the things that happened in the last 2 weeks. We are partaking, of course, in the Hungarian one game a month gem, havi egy játék gem, and the deadline is today, as you can see, in 5 or almost 6 hours, so almost 2 try-gems time frame is still left, which is good. And we are continuing the game that we started making for the GMTK gem. So since one of the themes of this particular one game a month gem was whatever the GMTK themes gem was, which was built to scale, of course. And yeah, we started making a game for that, but didn't finish it until the GMTK gems deadline. But the good thing that we will be able to finish, kind of finished, you know, call it a day at least for this gem. So let me show you how the game is looking right now. It's going to be a 2D physics platformer, and the build-to-scale theme part comes in as you play a little robot, this little guy, and you need to scale a mountain. The background graphics are coming through at one point, but Tibor already made a bunch of very cool pixel art graphics for the game, the level, and most of the mechanics that we wanted to add to the game are already there. As you can see, there's the possibility to hang on to these little bushy-looking things, which are actually foliage, tree foliage, if I'm using the correct term. But yeah, I haven't added too many tree trunks yet, but they are also included in the art that Tibor has already made. So yeah, this is just a little test level. And right now, there's a possibility to collect these little coin-looking things. They may or may not stay in the game. There will be probably some sort of collectible or pickup item stuff, but right now they are like little energy cells, and the player actually has depleting energy, which we are probably going to remove, or at least give it a little makeover, because we really don't want the player to stress about the ever-depleting energy, and which might cause them to not be able to get to a certain point because they ran out of it or something. So we decided that we are going to remove or restructure that feature a little. So yeah, the point of the whole game is to get to the top of the mountain. So usually you will have to travel in a upwards position, not position, but angle or direction. Yeah, that's the correct term, thanks. Tibor is right here right away behind me. Probably working on some art or level design. And right now, as you can see, the main movement that I can do is because of these little grappling sort of things that I'm able to emit from the little robot. But you can also roll around on the ground when you are grounded. For example, now I can move around a little to the left and to the right. But usually it will be mostly about these ninja rope type of things that you can use to swing around, gain momentum, stuff like this. So yeah, this is essentially all there is to it. Let me just try to go to the top of the level. I hope I won't. Yeah, I'm really crap at it still. But eventually I will go to the top, and there's a little win condition. You have to make it to a certain object, which will probably be like some sort of docking station or something, because the little robot is actually a part of like some sort of radio system, and an antenna will extend from the robot once the target location has been reached. That's the whole thing about it. Yeah, I'm really crap at it, as you can see, but especially when I'm talking. Let me just concentrate a little bit. Oh yeah, by the way, the game can be controlled with the WASD and keys and the mouse. You actually use the mouse to aim, so yeah. And you also have to click the mouse to start the grappling hook. You can hold the mouse button beforehand, before even being close to one of the little bushy things, but once you are within distance, then the grappling hook will extend, and then you can move around. So this is a little change that we made today to the game. And yeah, let me just quit stalling and actually get to the top, because I just want to show you there's only temporary art for the yeah, that was a misclick. Let me just go to full screen. Hopefully it won't kill my computer, although probably it will. So yeah, I'm so prepared that I'm actually going to cheat and just show you how it looks when the player hits the target. It's nothing big really, but just a little tween that happens. So the little rectangle at the top is the target right now. Tibor will make some sort of art for that as well. And if I can, yep, that's it. That's the target you have to hit to complete the level. So yeah, this is where we are right now. And let me just check my to-do list. So essentially, we are still missing a couple of non-gameplay features like the usual. So a menu is still missing. There are no sounds, even though Tibor already collected some sound effects. So I will have to import those at one point. And we were also planning on a second hazardous material that we might add to the game. Actual water, like a body of water, but I think we are going to skip this one because I really want feature freeze as soon as possible so we can test the game and work on some levels. The teleport will probably happen, or checkpoint, we talked about this. So if the level is going to be big, then we don't want the player to be put in some sort of getting over it scenario and fall from the top right to the bottom or something. So we are going to add some checkpoints for that. And we might add a timer just so the players can, you know, measure stuff. So yeah. And also the little spark thing that happens, I'm not sure if I showed you this, but essentially the little waterfalls that are around are actually damaging for the little robot. And if I fly into one, let me just do that, some sparks will emerge from our little particle emitter. And this doesn't do anything game-wise, it's only a visual effect, but we will have to take some health points away from the player when this happens. And yeah, that's about it. The checkpoints are going to heal the player to the max, but otherwise we are not planning on adding health pickups. Or maybe we will, but I'm not so sure. It depends on the level designs that we may or may not do. So yeah, and yeah, there was one more feature that I was planning on doing, some sort of bouncy obstacle, but I think I'm going to skip it as well. So I'm just going to move it somewhere here, for example. And touch controls I'm also not going to do, not this time. However, there are gamepad controls. So if you don't like moving around in this sort of game with the keyboard and the mouse, then you can also, I mean, if my gamepad was awake, now it is. So you can also move around with the left analog stick, and you can aim with the right analog stick in whichever position you want to, whichever direction you want to look for grappling points. And to grapple, to start the grappling process, or just, you know, anticipate it, you can hold down the right trigger on the gamepad, and then it will, if you are looking in the right direction and there's a little bush in the, or foliage, sorry, in the essentially line of sight cone that you see, which is still temporary art. So then the player will actually grab the little grappling point. And that's about it. Ooh, nice bit of sparks there. That's where we are. So, okay, construct, go for the automatic backup stuff. Of course, I'm still using construct 3, just like always. So this is not another Godot stream, I guess, or Godot, if that's what you prefer. Right, I'm going to get started in a minute. I'm just going to check chat because I think, yeah, on my second screen, the whole thing froze. So let me just scroll back a little. New haircut also, yes, thanks for noticing, Flavius. Yeah, I was due to go to the hairdressers. And I cheated. What do you mean? Do the Godover? What is that? Is that some sort of dance that I'm not aware of? I've never heard of it before. Okay, so wrong button. Okay, so we still have almost 6 hours. I'm going to get started. Right. Okay, so I already started making some sort of super lame menu, although I think it's just still a little empty layout at this point, but I'm going to quickly do some stuff so I can just get rid of this to-do item. So the usual way we do this is to use a couple text objects and make it super ugly, like always. I mean, I make it super ugly, but yeah. So we have this classic font right here. I am going to make this a little lighter, and I'm also going to use the layers background color for now, although we might add some sort of background graphics at one point for the menu. For now, it's just going to be a solid color. Go for it. Flavius, sure. Pop in and out as you feel like it. Okay, so let me just turn on the grid. And we still don't have a name for the game, so yeah, this is a problem. But at one point, we'll probably come up with something in the last minute. Although if anyone in chat has a good idea for this sort of thing, so it's about scaling a mountain with a little robot that has a radio in it, I don't know. If someone has a good idea, I'm all for it. So, okay. I'm just going to put some temporary stuff here. Antennio. Ah, okay, that's a good name. Yeah, so Tibor suggested that the robot might be called Antennio, which sounds a little bit like, I don't know, like a Spanish name or something. Antennio. Or is that more Italian? I don't know. I'm going to quit being racist, by the way, right now. Okay, so
Write that down.
write that down in your copybooks now. Size something bigger. This is probably too big, but yeah. Oh yeah, construct can use BB code in text objects and also sprite font ones. So I'm just going to do something like this. And yeah. Just go with the classic. Also, I am going to resize the whole text object so it fills up the whole layout. And that's it. And of course, we are going to need some sort of button to start, and space, or I don't know, maybe click. Yeah, this is super temporary stuff, but something that is super temporary and might still, you know, end up in the final version, the gem version anyway, is still better than nothing. And yeah, it's been a couple of there's been a couple of times where I actually missed the whole menu part completely, which is not great. Okay, so this is all right. I'm just going to quickly make some events. So I capture the mouse click and the spacebar press and the right trigger on the gamepad. So let me just do that right now. It's going to be a new event. I'm going to use the keyboard for this sort of thing. I'm going to press E, so it opens up the new event menu or the dialog. The condition is going to be keyboard on key pressed, and the key in question is space. I'm going to turn this event into an OR block, which means that I can create multiple conditions, and they will work like with ORs between them. So any of them, if any of them fires, then the actions right next to them will run. I don't know why I'm doing this like a tutorial, but sometimes I'm for example, right now I'm inclined to do that. So yeah, so I'm just going to say gamepad on button pressed, and this button in question, oof, my camera is super wonky, sorry. So the button in question will be the right shoulder trigger. And I also mentioned that mouse clicks should start the game, which might not be a great idea. But yeah, I'm going to do that right now. So on click, and yeah, just left click. This should just go to the next layout. Right now, there is not going to be a level selection menu, I think. we're just going to probably have, if we're going to have multiple levels, then we're just going to have some sort of continuity. So when you finish up with the first one, then you can start with the second one and this sort of thing. So yeah, this is the level that Tibor started making, which kind of looks like something that might end up in the game as well. Not just a bunch of test stuff, which I had previously. So yeah, okay, this is fine. And I'm just going to set the first layout to this one so I can test it out. Whoops, I don't need this. And if I run the game right now, then it should start with the menu layout, this horrendous gray and white text stuff, but you know, it's still a menu technically. I'm just going to resize the games window a little bit. And okay, good. So if I click, then the game starts, which is good. If I refresh the whole thing, I'm just going to test everything. So I press space, the game starts. And if I press the trigger, hopefully, but my gamepad is probably sleeping. Okay, now it's not. So yeah, it starts. So this is fine for now. However, there's going to be a couple of shortcuts that I want to use globally. So I'm just going to create a new event sheet for this sort of thing. Call it e-input global. And this is just going to be some sort of icon or emoji. I'm going to search for like a key, but like a keyboard key. So yeah, okay, this looks horrendous. What about button? Yeah, sure, why not? Okay. And I am going to include this event sheet in both the level event sheet and also in the menu event sheet. So anything I put into this will run on all layouts essentially. And where was I? Okay, right here. And right now I have a couple keys, just F for full screen and R for restarting the whole game, or the whole layout in this case. But yeah, I'm going to move these from here to the global input event sheet. So boom. And now this means that I can probably press F to toggle full screen from the menu and from the game as well. Okay, so this works fine. And yeah, it also works fine from here. Nice. Okay, so I am going to mark the menu item on the to-do list with this little tilde stuff, which means that, something. Not finished, but at least not unfinished completely. So yeah, I am going to add, I think for now, a little teleportation device, or this checkpoint stuff to be more precise, which I am going to add a temporary object for. Which one?
The one that...
Oh yeah,
erodes.
got it. Tibor has actually drawn some. Okay, so this one, or there's going to be more frames because the... 6, right, okay, so maybe it's the other file. And once again, yeah, this one, right? Good. Okay. And are they intentionally this dull color or something?
Yeah, because it's dead.
Right. So this is the one that is going to diminish as the player uses them, and the green ones are just going to be there always. Okay, good. Yeah, so that's the plan. We are going to have different looking, I'm skipping on the word again, foliages. So the green ones that are already in the game are actually persistent, so you can use them as many times as you want. But there's going to be a second version, which looks like the image that I showed before. I'm going to import it right now. And these ones will actually expire after a while. So yeah, I'm going to start with that because this will need some adjustment in the code as well. So I have this object called grip, and it has like an infinite version, this one, and the other one will be limited. So I'm just going to create a new animation name. I mean, if construct doesn't freeze up or something, let me just save the project before I do anything, because it wasn't responding to my right click, and it still doesn't respond to my right click. This is a little daunting, but yeah, I can duplicate the animation, that's all right. So Yeah, how should I name it? Limited or something. And in this picture there are 1, 2, 3, okay, 6 frames. So I will just import them as a sprite sheet right here. Yeah, there are 6 frames. This is cool. I think I'm just going to keep everything as is. Okay, so it looks like that. Are these rogue pixels intentional, by the way? Around the, like this one outside? They are not?
No, they're not. I don't see those.
That's all right. I'll just remove them.
Gray
So
white background.
it's all right. It is fine. I'm just going to clear those. So looks good, looks good, looks good. Okay, nice. So yeah, this is going to have like 6 different states. I'm not so sure how I will implement them. I mean, if I want to make them actually variable, so you can place any of the states on the level, but I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. So I'm just going to make sure that it's possible to set the infinite and the limited version as well. But I can just probably copy the whole animation to the spawner. This is how I usually do things, or at least how I did in this game. I have a little spawner object somewhere here. And the stuff, as you can see on the layout initially, is all the spawner object, just instances of it, and there are different animations which correspond to certain object types. So yeah, it's not the most optimal way to do things, but I wanted to try this sort of thing, so I figured why shouldn't I do it now. So right now, okay, this was, why the right click was disabled again, I don't know. So this is going to be a grip, but I am going to call it grip limited, and the other one I'm going to rename grip infinite. And this will make sense in a second. So in the object templates layout, I just keep one instance of all the important objects. And in this case, there's the grip right here. It still has this little text object attached to it, which I'm going to remove right now, I think, because this was something that I used for testing purposes. I just displayed a little number on the grips that were diminishing, or, you know, not the stable ones, not the infinite use ones. So yeah, I'm just going to remove that bit of code. Yeah, so I'm going to put a little to do here. And also I'm going to make a little bookmark and also enable the bookmarks toolbar in construct. So I know that I have to do something here. So the text stuff is going to go, and also, yeah. So some of the logic is not in the best place right now, but this is the part where the spawner is actually spawning the grip object. And it says this instance variable called useIsLeft. So yeah, still one more rogue pixel. Oh crap, I did not notice that. Let me just check again. Thanks, Flavius. Oh, this is not the right object, sorry. So this is the one, and okay, maybe this one. But I'm just going to double check all the other ones. Okay, I don't see the other any other rogue pixels, so hopefully you meant this one. It was a white one, so yeah, it was definitely outside the outline, so yeah. Okay, so yeah, I am going to remove this part because I actually don't need the object anymore, the display the number of useIsLeft. So these were probably in like UI, right? Okay, useIsSF, and there are no more references to this object, so I'm just going to delete it. I mean, there's one instance on the object templates layer, but this is going to go. Okay, so right now we have the grip object, and it also has this little radius, which was also in the early development phase to actually visually show the grip radius, but this I'm also going to remove, I think, because we don't need it anymore. So yeah, just to be safe, I'm going over all the usage, I mean all the places that this object has been referenced in the game. So this is just the initialization stuff. There's like a little color overlay that showed before. We don't need this anymore. Okay, so now it's gone from the code part. I can just remove the object, and of course I remove the whole object type as well. So this is going to go. Nice. So now there's only one part of the grip, and the grip object itself is the one. So I'm just going to create two instances of it. This one will be called infinite, I'm in the template, and the other one is, no, this one will be infinite, and the other one will be the whatever I named it. I already forgot, but let me just check. Where are we? Okay, grip. So limited, yeah, okay. Good. So I'm going to turn this into a template, even though this is a bit of an overkill, but I have a universal spawner logic that works with all sorts of things. So it uses templates to find the right instance of the object in the object templates layer, layout. So yeah, I'm going to name this infinite, and the other one I'm going to name limited. Perfect, that was the one. Okay, good. Thanks for noticing, by the way. I would have totally left it there, and maybe Tibor would have noticed it, but I'm not so sure. Okay, so good. We have two templates for the grip object, which is cool. And now if I change one of these, for example, this one, into the grip limited version, then I mean, I think it's quite possible that it will already work, but let me just try right now. Okay, for testing purposes, I'm going to remove the menu stuff for now, so I don't have to click every time, but yeah. Okay, so the grip works as intended. I mean, not completely as intended, because right now it's infinite use still, but I will just rewrite the part of the code that deals with the finite usage. So right now, if I change this variable to 1, it was -1, which meant infinite in this case. And now I change it to 1, which means that once I use this grip and disconnect from it, it should disappear, but it didn't. Okay, this is another sort of issue, but I'm going to rewrite that part anyway, so doesn't matter. Okay, so spawner uses, right, okay. Let me just go to the bookmark. And this is the part where the connection is actually made. And this is where the grip has the uses left variable subtracted. Oof, that wasn't a sentence. Okay, so this is the part where I need to update the whole thing and just move to the next frame of the animation of the grip object, I think. So, okay. I think I'm going to add the macro first, because we do use this limited string in a couple places already, but this is the first time I'm actually going to put it into code, which means that I will make a macro for it, because I don't like string literals. So let me just go back here. So I'm going to check if the grip is actually playing the limited animation. Did I make the macro right, by the way? Yeah, okay, I did. Good. So if the grip is of the limited kind, then I need to go to the next frame of it, essentially, which should, yeah, set frame should be fine, I think. And it will build something like self.animationFrame +1. However, I also need to check if there are more animation frames, because if there are none left, then I will definitely need to destroy the whole grip. So, okay, also I'm not so sure if I need to put this here, because this is where the connection is made. I actually want the grip to be destroyed or diminished once the player disconnects. So I'm just going to cut this and find the part where the grip is referenced and the whole disconnection thing happens. Okay, so this is the part where the disconnection is happening, and right now it checks for this uses left variable. I think I will probably remove that. So I will just use the frame as the data, essentially. So if the grip had the last frame of the animation, then I need to destroy it, I think. But of course, only if it was the limited kind. So if it was the limited kind, and let me just figure out how to do that. Compare frame and self dot animation frame count -1, because the animation frame count is 0 indexed. So if it was the last frame of the animation, then it should be destroyed, I think. Right. And also when the disconnection happens, this needs to happen, but this needs to happen in all cases when it was a limited kind. So I'm just going to restructure things a little bit. So if it was the limited kind, I'm first going to set the animation frame to the next one. Or okay, I figured it out. So if it's the limited kind, then I'm first going to check if it's the last frame of the animation. If it was, I mean, then the grip is going to get destroyed. And if it wasn't, then I need to pass it on to the next frame. I think this could work, but I will probably, I'm probably missing something. So I'm just going to check if it does. Also, I'm going to check chat. You're at work, Flavio, still? Oof. All right, that's totally fine. Don't get into any trouble. Hope that your bosses don't mind that you're watching Twitch at times. Or maybe you're the boss, I don't know. And then you have like a get out of jail free card anyway, so. Okay, so yeah, the frame definitely changed. I'm crap at this, so I'm just going to change the player's position back to the start. And I'm going to add an instance of this limited spawner. I spawner the grip right here, so I can quickly test it. So, yeah, the freaking menu, I forgot to remove it. So I'm just going to say that the game should start with this level instead of the menu layout. So I don't have to skip it every time. So, okay. Connection. Disconnection, nice. Another connection, another disconnection, cool. Connection, disconnection, okay, cool. And this is the last frame, I think. And now it's destroyed. So yeah, neat. I think it works, which is cool. However, I will add the possibility for the level designer, which will be Tibor mostly, I think, or maybe I will also try to make a level. So I want the level designer to be able to set how many uses this little grip point, or I'm always keeping on the freaking name of this stuff. The bush. Foliage. Yes.
You could say leaves.
Yeah, the leaves. Yeah.
But maybe leaves some bad taste in you.
Thanks, man. Okay, so yeah, this is the limited kind, and I'm going to just use the initial frame stuff so I can set the frame to something else. However, in this case, the spawner is not going to respond to this. So right now, if I start the game, both of the limited spawners are starting from the full version, from the first frame, which is not good. So I will have to add some custom stuff to the spawners custom event. And right now, I'm also contemplating doing a little refactor, which I already noted to myself. So everything uses this generic create object action, including the grip. Because yes, since I was using this uses left variable, that was one of the reasons that I created like a separate action that spawns the grip object for the spawner. So yeah, okay, I'm just going to rewrite this. And if there's a grip playing, or the spawner has the grip animation playing, which also I'm not so sure if this worked anyway, because I renamed it. So let me just disable it. Although in this case, the else part might not work. Okay, it did, good. So yeah, okay, this wasn't running anyway, so I'm just going to remove it. And instead, I'm going to do this. Goodbye refactor comment. And right now I just have to do some sort of check like this. Ooh, there's a string literal, holy crap. Why am I not using the object type? Oh yeah, because it includes the variation or the template as well. Okay, please hold while I think about stuff. So, okay. Okay, I haven't used this anyway, so let me just change this. So if it was a pickup, and I'm also going to create a second macro, which is not for the pickup, but the grip. Good. And now if I go back to the spawner logic, I can do something like OT pickup to get rid of this horrendous string literal. And right here, I'm going to say OT grip. So if the spawner was one that had to spawn a grip, I will also need to check if yeah, if it's the finite kind, or do I? I could just, yeah, I could just simply set the animation frame to the same one as the spawner and be done with it. So I'm just going to say spawnables, because this is the family that includes all the object types that the spawners are able to spawn. So right here, I'm just going to say set frame and set it to whatever the frame of the spawner object's animation was. So which is spawner dot animation frame. And this just means that if the level designer sets any of the animations to a specific frame and the spawned object has the same frames, of course, or the same amount of frames, then it will reflect. So now it's working fine, which is cool. So this was the starting object. I'm just going to check it to make sure it's the right frame. But yeah, it is. So yeah, now I can spawn grips that are already in a much worse shape than this one, for example, the full one. So yeah, Tibor, I think it's working, the limited grip stuff.
Sounds good.
So should I put a new version of the project in the folder? Are you working on level design right now, or
the background texture?
Background texture. Good. Okay, go for it. Okay, do I have to import anything from your project file, like level stuff? You didn't make it.
Haven't touched the game.
Good.
Making parts.
That's nice. Totally fine. Okay, that means that I will just create a new version of the project. But before I do that, I save this one and I put the project file, the whole half megabyte project file, into the shared folder for Tibor. I'm also going to delete the old one, right?
Good.
And this 0 kilobyte dead leaf stuff. I don't know why it's there, but yeah. So Tibor is using some sort of Android tablet software stuff for drawing the sprites, and it has Dropbox connectivity or something, but sometimes it produces like trash files and 0 kilobyte files and stuff like this. So yeah, it's a little rough around the edges, but it works mostly. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to the to-do items. And yeah, I don't think yeah, it was essentially this one, but it was already checked out. But yeah, now it looks different. So yeah, this was a feature that wasn't on the to-do list right now, but yeah. So I'm just going to bump up the project's version number, the build number, to 18. And I'm also going to make a little export, so if anyone is watching and would like to give the game a go, then they are absolutely feel free to do so, because I'm just going to put the current build on the itch site. that is still a temporary one because we don't have a name for the game, so I haven't made a proper itch page for it, but this will happen in the next couple hours. So right now you can just find it like this. It's on the itch page. Also, I am going to read chat right now. Sorry, Flavius. Okay, but this is not in the company. Good. That's kind of boss that is not present. What app is he using? What app are you using, by the way? What's the name of the
Pixel Studio?
Pixel Studio. Okay, so Pixel Studio. And it's on Android. That's all I know. So okay, did I make the export or did I not? No, I did not. Okay, let me just do that. So export web, next. And I'm just going to put this little zip right over the previous one. And I have this neat little one-line script essentially that pushes the contents of the zip file to the itch servers. This is just calling the CLI application bottler, which is the official CLI for itch. So yeah, this will just update the game. Boom. It's a different. We should have a break soon. Definitely. Definitely. You use that one as well? Really? I didn't know. That's cool. And how do you find it, by the way? Do you have any issues with it, or is it like super comfortable? I'm guessing that it probably is because Tibor uses it, so. I don't know anything, by the way, about drawing applications and stuff like this, but I'm always happy to learn because sometimes people ask this question, of course, which app you use and stuff like this. So it's useful for statistical purposes, definitely. Okay, so let me just check if the new version of the app is public. Looks like it. So yeah, for the controls, you can use the WASD keys, and also you can press space or click the mouse button to start a grip once one of the grip points, the foliage, is highlighted. So yeah, that's about it. You can go full screen by pressing F. You can restart the level by pressing R. These are temporary, of course. I mean, F is probably going to stay, but R is probably going to either move to a different key or something, but yeah, I'm not very comfortable with R being so close to the WASD keys, or maybe I will just keep it this way, I don't know. But for now, you can definitely restart the current level, which is only one level, of course, by pressing R. So yeah, it looks like it's working. Whoop, nice. Should we have a break? All right, okay, so we are going to take a little break, which will probably take like, I don't know, 10 to 15 minutes, possibly. So yeah, this is how we roll. Sorry, guys. I mean, for some reason, I just can't really do the constant 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour streams like most developers on itch. I mean, Twitch, yeah. But yeah, so we're gonna have a little break and we will be right back very soon. If you're gonna try the game, go for it, and if you want to give us any feedback, we will probably check chat while we're on the break as well, so feel free to do so. So yeah, I'm just going to press pause and we will be right back. And we are back. Hi there, tomatoes who cannot be trusted, or the tomatoes that cannot be trusted anyway. Welcome. Thanks for stopping by. Right, okay, so we talked about a couple of things while we were on the break, so I'm just going to make some notes. So the pickups. Right now the pickups give you energy, and when you take damage, the energy might diminish, but this is going to be a separate thing. So minimum, can I? Okay, right, okay. Counting crystals. Okay, so the thing is that the level is going to have a bunch of crystals on it, and the player will need to collect a certain amount of those crystals. And it is required for the win condition. So this is a change that I think I'm going to get started with. And also, okay, so the checkpoint is going to be the next one. And sounds are TBD. And the timer is probably going to move up here as well. Okay, so the sparks I'm also going to revisit, because right now there's visual effects, but no actual damage taking. Okay, so let me just get started on this. So the crystals, yeah, right now they look like little yellow circles, but they are going to look like proper crystals that grow from the side of the mountain or something. Meanwhile, I will need to change a little thing. So when the player is spawning, the level, or no, okay, so how am I going to do this? So I need to store the amount of crystals that need to be collected, and I will also need to make like a heads-up display sort of thing that shows how many crystals are collected and how many more the player needs to finish the level. So first, I think I'm just going to come up with a solution for storing the target amount. And it should be on the player. However, we are spawning the player with a spawner, so do I use like a game manager object to store this sort of thing, or do I do something else? I am going to change the name of this layer to UI HUD, and I'm going to make it global. So if we have more than one level, hopefully we will, then I can just create a layer called UI HUD, and it will automatically replicate everything that is on it. So on this layer, I'm going to unlock it, and I'm also going to drag this global timer object. I'm also going to just name it global, and no, this is not going to be the good solution, because this needs to be on the main layer and not the HUD one, because this will need to be on every level, but also the variable in it, which will be named target, or just target pickup count for now. So this will have a number in it, of course, on every level, but it can be a different one. So right now I'm just going to set it to 10, and this will be the amount that needs to be picked up for the level. Oof. Go for it, Flavius, of course. Have a nice break. We know we did, so yeah, breaks are super important. Okay, so I am going to create a different variable, instance variable for the player as well. There are already a couple ones. So I'm just going to name it pickup count, and it starts from 0. And every time the player picks up one of these little dudes, then it will increase. And the game will check if the value is actually at least this. So yeah, okay, I am going to locate the part where the pickups are actually getting picked up. And I think it's probably here. Yeah, so when the pickup is being picked up, this is the part where it moves. But also there should be some sort of is being picked up variable on this right here. And I set this to 1 instead of 0. And I use the macros no and yes for this sort of thing, but yeah. So when I set this, this is the part where the pickup is actually being picked up. So I can either increase the value here, but no, I won't, because instead I am going to have to wait for the pickup to actually disappear. So what I need is not the is being picked up, but the is picked up variable, which I also use somewhere right here. Okay, so yeah, we are back to here. So this is the part where the isPicked variable is set to yes. And this is the part where I need to increase the add 1 to the player's pickup count variable. And yeah, I will also have to update the UI, but this part is coming later. So this energy thing is going to go. So the pickups are no longer going to heal the player, which is all right, I think. And also let me just check how the player's health is set up right now, because I don't remember. Holy crap, Mice! Hi there, welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining in. How are you? What's going on? The nerds are starting soon as well. So I'm super happy that you checked on Twitch earlier and noticed me streaming. Right, okay, where was I? So yeah, the player's health I was talking about, and I'm just going to check the variables. So energy, yeah, I named it energy instead of health, but I'm just going to change it to health instead. And I'm just going to look for all the references and see how it works right now. So there's also this UI bar at the top of the screen, which I'm probably going to remove or just restructure once again. Because right now, if the player is moving around, this little bar is decreasing because the player's energy is being spent. But this is a mechanic that we decided to get rid of. So this will not be needed. I'm just going to disable it for now. And also, this is the part. Okay. Yeah, the energy consumption stuff. Yeah, this also needs to be disabled because we no longer want the player to lose health by moving around. And also right here, yeah, the same thing happens when there's grip movement. So when you are gripping something and you are moving around, the health was also, or the energy was also decreasing. So I just removed all of this essentially. And there's only one more reference to this health variable, and it's right here when the player's health is actually set up. And it's set up in a way that can also quickly be changed. So if I find my player object right here, there are a bunch of these variables. And some of the variables start with the letter R and the little underscore. And this is a prefix that I use to signify that this variable is actually a rule. So when, for example, I say the max energy, which I'm also going to rename because it's not energy, it's health now. And luckily, Construct has automatic refactoring for this sort of thing, so I don't have to worry about references. So max health starts from 100 at the beginning of the level. And when the player will, of course, sometimes overlap with these little waterfalls, then they will start losing health. This is something that is also missing from the game at this point, but yeah, this will happen. And the sparks will fly and stuff like this. So I will definitely need to create a custom action, essentially a function for the player that runs when this sort of thing happens. So I'm just going to say for the player family, I'm going to create a custom action, which will be called either change health or, yeah, change health is fine. And I'm going to create a parameter for it called amount. And when the player has this custom action called, then they will either lose health or gain health, but we don't want any anything to heal the player apart from the checkpoints. So the plan is when the player hits a checkpoint, they will automatically get healed back to the max. And this is the only way to heal in the game right now. That's the concept anyway. So you couldn't miss this. Well, I'm super glad that you're here, Mice. Thanks once again. It's a very rare event indeed. Yeah, I used to stream a lot more, not a lot more, but yeah, more frequently before the summer. But yeah, summer be summer in. So now the streams are quite far between. So that's just that's just how it goes, I guess. So yeah, player condition. What am I doing? Okay, so when I am changing the health of the player, I actually want the variable to be updated. So I'm just going to say player set variable, no, set value. And I'm also going to say that the health should be set, and I'm going to use clamp so it doesn't go below 0 and it doesn't go above the maximum health. So I'm just going to say self.health plus amount, and amount will be a negative number when I'm damaging the player. The lower bound will be 0. I'm just going to use a literal for this, and for the maximum amount, I can also say self.r max health. Right, good. I also noticed that there are a couple of rules that I will probably no longer need, like this one, yeah. So I'm just going to delete this, and then I can also delete this, and do the same for this. So these were the rule variables that that contained how much energy should be depleted from the player when they are moving around. So yeah, when I'm removing this action completely, I can also remove the variable. If I remove variable in construct that is being used somewhere, for example this one, then construct actually asks me if I really want to do this, because then all the actions or conditions that use this variable will be removed, which is something I would never want to do, probably. But for example, if we have a variable that has no references anywhere in the project, then I can just press delete and it won't even ask me if I want to do that, because yeah, there's no problem if I delete this. Okay, so right, healing will occur in the checkpoints, and checkpoints I'm going to do next, but first I'm going to make sure that the player actually loses health. And this should happen when this overlapping thing happens, which is right here for now, not great. So I think when the player's tick custom action is running, I can just move this sort of thing right there. So tick is the custom action that I call at every frame. And this is where I should check if the player is actually overlapping a waterfall. And this is where I turn on the particle emitter on the player, and if it's not overlapping with a waterfall, I turn it off. So what I need to do is to come up with some sort of technique to damage the player, and the damage should be probably a fixed number for now. I'm just going to create a constant for this. Constants I always prefix with a big C and the underscore. Who's touching grass? Sorry, I missed something, possibly. Okay, where was I? So yeah, water damage will be the name of the variable, a horrendous one, and I'm going to say something that will be multiplied by the delta time anyway, so I'm going to say 50 for now, make it a constant. I am also going to remove this bookmark because I think this is fine. We no longer need it. Also, I can probably remove this part, but yeah, I don't care about that. So yeah, this is where we were. I'm going to put a bookmark right here, and so if the player is overlapping with a waterfall, I want the player to take damage. Also, this should really be this one. Bit of a wonky reference, but it works because there's only one player anyway, so I'm going to replace player with the player family reference just to be safe. And right here, I am going to call the custom action that we just created. So it was change health, and it's going to be something like minus and this water damage value, and I'm going to multiply it with delta times, so hopefully it won't be frame rate dependent. We'll see. Okay, so this is okay, and I'm also going to, for now, just add a little logging action, so I see how many health points the player still have. So player health, and I'm just going to say player.health. Okay. I can also probably move the little spark stuff right here. So if the amount variable is a -1, so below 0, then I can yeah, Or maybe not. Yeah, I'm going to deal with this later. Okay. Let me just check if it works. Welcome back, Flavius. Right, I'm going to run the game. Hopefully, my PC doesn't crash and burn. So, and I'm going to open up the console. So this is the part where it should display the damage. However, I think I'm going to create a little, or just move this closer so I can easily test it. Although there was another one as well. I'm just going to move this a little to the bottom, closer to the bottom, so I can definitely overlap it. So let me just check if it works. It probably did previously. Also, there are a bunch of different debug messages that I will need to remove, but yeah. So I'm just going to go close to the waterfall, and yeah, it is definitely taking damage. Nice. And it shouldn't go below 0. Yeah, it did not. Good, because clamp. Nice. Right, okay, so what I still need to do is to figure out how do I show the health on the player, because one thing that we thought about is to recolor the eyes of the little dude, the player robot, and I don't think this is going to cut it. So I think we'll talk about this with Tibor soon. And also we'll probably need some different sort of feedback, like a health bar or something somewhere. I can probably use this one, which I used previously for the energy stuff. I'm just going to rename it to health. And I'm also going to go to macros and change the macro related one. And I think I will also update this bar when the player is either taking damage or being healed. So the custom action that we created will also have a separate feature, and it will change the size of this health bar. So at first I'm going to pick the right one, even though there's only one, but maybe there will be two, I don't know. So I'm just going to pick the one that has the role called role health, and I'm going to size it accordingly, which will use the set width action, and hopefully there's like init width. Yeah, this is something that I create when the game starts. I mean, fill when the game starts. So the initial width of the bar is recorded into a instance variable, and right now I'm just going to change this according to the player's current health and the maximum health. So this is something that I always confuse, but essentially I want the player's health divided by the player's max health and multiplied by the UI bar's initial width. I think, oof, I can't even speak, sorry. Okay, so let me just check. Concord is shutting down. What? I am out of the loop, guys. What are we talking about? Okay, so yeah, definitely it works. So if I go into the waterfall, my little energy bar is depleting, which is cool. Ooh, nice. Okay. There's still no lose condition, but I will get on that as well. Nice. Okay, I think this is fine for now. I mean, it's functional, even though it looks terrible. Okay. I will need to take care of the player death scenario, and also I think I'm going to move on to the checkpoint bit, because yeah, this is something that I need to also put into the whole thing, because the checkpoint will heal the player, and if the player dies, then they will just spawn to the last checkpoint. That's the plan anyway. Okay. I will also need to add some sort of HUD for the pickups, because right now we count the pickups, hopefully, but we don't display them anywhere in the game, which is not good. And we also don't display the target. So we have like this little custom action event sheet for the pickups. I'm just going to create a new custom action. And this will be, or maybe I don't. I just use a different HUD part. Okay. I decided to go with a little text object. So I'm going to select this layer and I'm going to grab this right onto it. And I will just change it to some placeholder text like crystals, something out of something. I'll change the size to something smaller and make it left and top aligned. And I'm going to put this in the top left corner for now. I will probably move it later, but yeah. So yeah, this will have the role crystals. And I'm just going to create a macro for this. Concord is the lame Overwatch copy with bad characters that was released a few days ago. And it's already being shut down. Wow. What the freak happened? Do you know about this?
Not about the shutdown.
Okay. But have you tried it? I mean the...
No.
Okay. Well, don't you just hate when this happens? Or I don't know, maybe it makes you happy. I don't know if it was crap or not.
Google project?
What?
What is this?
A Google project, yeah, exactly. Yeah, possibly. Okay, crystals, right? Okay, so I'm going to create, maybe I'll just go with the global UI function. I usually do that. So I'm just going to say update UI will be a name of the custom, not custom action. This is an actual function, just a global. It's not attached to any object type or anything. And I'm just going to make something like the role of the crystal stuff. Yeah, and I'm just going to update it. So text, set text, crystals, and I'm just going to use this nice little string sub function. So the first variable, the first substitution should be the amount of crystals that the player have picked up, which will be in pickup count. Oof, horrible name, because there's picked up count, no, just picked count, and there's pickup count, never mind. But the other one is a stock, not variable, but property. Okay, so player dot, or no, it's in the other, what did I name it? Global dot our target pickup count. Okay, so this is the variable that needs to be referenced to display the total amount of pickups that the player has to make to complete the level. So right now it should say something like 0 out of 10, I think. Oh yeah, if I call it, but I have not. So when the level is initialized, I should probably, just to be safe, wait for all the objects to spawn, which you can do that, which you can do in construct by using this fantastic action, wait 0 seconds. And after everything is definitely spawned, I can run the update UI function, which will take the values from the player object and the global object. So yeah, I'm just going to wait for these to be safe. Okay. It's still not going to get updated when I'm picking up stuff, but I will also do that in a second. Okay, I just wanted to see if it works fine. So this text is being replaced at the start of the level, which is cool. And when pickups happen, which happen right here, I need to also run the update UI function. So right now, if I pick up these little yellow things, then the amount should grow. And indeed they do. Okay, so there should be like 5, 6, 7. Okay, this works fine, I think. I mean, it looks like crap once again, but it is functional, and this is a jam game. And we are like in, I don't know, if we have like 4 hours to finish or something. I'm just going to check on the deadline soon. Yeah, a little bit more. It's midnight local time, so yeah. I'm also going to check chat. 8 years of development down the drain. Holy crap. That's horrendous. They wanted to rival Overwatch, but didn't made more than 20,000 sales, including all platforms. So, but how much time?
Overwatch is a free game.
Yeah, and this wasn't. It was a few days ago. Tomato said that it was released a few days ago, and already they are so sure that it's not going to. Wow, that's. And was it a big studio that made it, or was it like an indie type of deal? Okay, let me just check my to-do list. So crystals minimum count for win condition done, kind of, and counting crystals is also kind of done. I mean, it is done. The HUD is not great, but yeah, it works. So this win condition stuff, yeah. Right now, the player is able to exit the level by just overlapping with this little temporary programmer art stuff. This is the exit. However, I only want to allow the player to exit once they have the right amount of crystals. So let me just check for references to this object. So this is where the collision tracking is happening. So if the player is colliding with this object, then I'm disabling its physics and tweening their position to the target, so they can no longer move around. They just tween to the center of this object, and that's essentially the end of the level. So it's not a proper win condition, definitely. There's no, like, I don't know, text appearing that says congratulations and stuff like this, but I will also add that, I think. And also we talked about a little timer that could show how much time did it take for the player to reach the target. So yeah, right here I am also going to check if the player has enough crystals. So I'm just going to create a new condition, a sub condition, after the collision check, and say player compare variable, and if the player's pickup count is at least as many as the target, which is in the global object, then we will allow the whole win situation to happen. And otherwise, we should probably give some visual feedback to let the player know that they don't have enough crystals, but I'm just going to put a little to-do comment right here. So to test if this is working fine, I'm going to move the exit to the bottom of the level, definitely. I'm also going to lock the HUD layer just to be safe and make sure that I did not place anything else on it. Good. So I'm just going to move this right here. And I'll try to pick up a couple of the energy crystals, but not enough of them, and see if player is able to exit the level or not. And I'm also using this as an opportunity to test the game, because that's always good. That's good practice, I guess. Whoops. Okay, I'm still crap at it, by the way. Okay, so crystals. Okay, that was like, okay, 7, 8, right. Still nothing happens if I hit the little target. Let me just grab a few more. I mean, I could have easily added a few more crystals, but I really need to practice anyway, so. Okay, so now we have 10, 12, okay, so more than enough. And now if I hit the ground and try to move closer to the, oh, that's handy. Now it works, that's good. Okay, so the win condition checking stuff is now happening. So I'm just going to, yeah, definitely mark it as complete. The sparks, yeah, are happening, and we talked about a little impulse that should also happen when the player is taking damage. And the question is that, do we really want to do that? But probably we could try it. It would be funny or maybe annoying, I don't know. Let me just find the part where the player is taking damage. So right here I can check if the amount was actually a negative number. I kind of did that already. I mean, I tried to do that, but right here I'm just going to put a little extra impulse on the player. I'm going to reference the family just to be safe. So player underscore and apply impulse at an angle and just use a random angle, possibly. I'm just going to try it. I have no idea what sort of value I should enter here, so I'm just going to put 1 at first. And for the angle, I'm going to go with the good old randomized angle. And image point 0 means that the origin of the player, which is the midpoint. So now if I'm taking damage, there will be some sort of extra movement. Whoa, okay, so this is a little bit too much, I guess. Who could have thought? Right. How am I using this function anyway? Okay, so the delta time, okay. Yeah, this is not frame rate independent, not yet anyway, and that's a problem. I'm just going to multiply this for now with the delta time, which will also decrease it quite a bit. Okay, so it's now, yeah, not even visible essentially if you are on the ground. So I'm just going to try a higher value, like 3. Most likely it wasn't any. Yeah, I would guess that, yeah, it was probably like a big studio or something, and they have a bunch of money and they can afford to pull crap like this. Okay, so I'm guessing that the impulse should be, if I'm using random impulse anyway, I'm not so sure if I should, but definitely not in a full circle. So I only want the player to move upwards, because if they're on the ground and the impulse is, you know, facing downwards, then nothing will happen. I mean, it won't be discernible, definitely. So I'm just going to say something between 180 and 360. Or maybe 200 and 340, I don't know. And also I'm going to crank up the base for the impulse right here from 3 to 5, and we'll check it. But it will happen in a quite fast manner, yeah. And it's still random, so yeah, okay, it's not bad, I think. I'm just going to check how it looks if I'm using a grappling stuff and get hit by the, okay. I think it's better than nothing, that's for sure. Nice, good. I'm going to leave it like this. The only thing I'm going to change is the damage random impulse. Yeah, I'm going to put this into a constant. So if I ever want to change it, I don't have to go through the code, just know that there's a rule that I can change right here. So this could of course be something that is on the player family instance variable, but this is fine. I don't think I want to change that anywhere else. So I'm just going to say constant and damage random impulse. Good. Right, so we still have 4.5 hours almost. Okay, so I'm going to change this to an X, and also this I change stuff I'm going to put into a different item, because this is still something that we have to decide how it will look. And I'm going to move on to the checkpoint, I think. Or maybe I could finish this wing condition stuff a little. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. So for the HUD, I'm also going to add a new text object that will not show by default, but when the player finishes the game, then it will show how much time did they take and stuff like this, and like congratulations or some sort of text. So I'm going to put another text object on the UI HUD layer. I'm going to say it should be in the middle. I mean, it's in the top left corner, but it's center aligned, both horizontally and vertically. So I'm just going to put some temporary stuff here, like congratulations, and you completed the level in time, something. Yeah, that's about it, I think. So it should look something like this. I can just run the game and see how it looks. It doesn't look great, and also the font size is way too big. Now it's a little better, so I'm just going to change this, or maybe win, and also I'm going to assign a role to this, and I'm promptly going to make sure that the stuff that I copied to the clipboard or cut to the clipboard is actually stored somewhere, so the whole temporary stuff. And also I'm going to need time counting mechanics. So how do I do that? I probably want to make something like every X seconds while the player is not dead, I am going to count time. And I'm also going to check if the player has won the level. So was it here? No, that's a different bookmark. So it was some sort of collision check. I can just go to the collisions event sheet right here. Okay, this is where the win condition stuff happens. So I'm going to say text, set text, and paste this stuff right here before I overwrite it accidentally. So a couple of new lines. This will come out, and this is where I will paste the time stamp. So I will of course need to pick the right text object, so I'm just going to do that right here, roll, and I haven't created a freaking macro for it, but I will right now. So roll win, which I used right here, so it will just have the value win. I'm going to move this to the macros event sheet. I'm not even going to switch to it because I don't have to. And I'll check for this new role, and if I find the right text object, then I will change its contents to this. And I will also make it visible because it won't be visible by default, which I'm going to make sure that I uncheck right here right now. So initially visible is no longer checked for this object, which is good. So if I run the game right now, it doesn't show up. And I will also need to do some refactoring bit, because what I'm doing right now is horrendous. So this whole win condition checking stuff will have to be in a custom action. So also I put this in the wrong place. So okay, I am going to create a custom action on the player called check win condition, and I'm going to move, where was I, the freaking collisions event sheet, okay, right here. So I'm going to cut this, and when the collision happens between the player and the target, I'm just going to say player check win condition. And I'm going to go right here and move this part of the code right here. So check win condition is going to be run when a collision between the player and the target happens. And it will check if the player has the right amount of pickups. And if they don't, we still don't show anything. So this will stay a to-do for now. But if it does, I mean, if the player has the right amount, then they will stop moving, and I mean interactively, and also the win text will appear. So what I started making is the timer. So I'm just going to create a state variable right here, time elapsed, the usual route, and every second I'm going to add 1 to this time elapsed. Good. And also I'm going to check if the player is still alive. So player variable, do we have is dead? Yes. So if the player is not dead, then I'm going to increase the time elapsed variable's value by 1. Good. And also I am going to make sure that the little function that displays the time is actually in my template file. Hopefully it is. Yes, there's this little format time function that I wrote a couple months ago, I think. It's nothing big, but it just formats the time in a pleasing way, I guess. So yeah, it should be okay. However, I do want to add, if it was like, I don't know, 10 seconds, then it should say 10 seconds. And this is the part where the seconds word is actually missing. So I don't think I need 0 padding anyway. So this should suffice, I think. Yeah, hopefully. We'll see. Okay, so again, this is not the right bookmark. I have not created one, but never mind. So the player has a new custom action called check win condition. Okay, this is where the stuff happens. And this is where I need to include the time. And we will also need to probably, for good measure, add some sort of variable that also holds some sort of state. That means that the player has won the game, or the level anyway. So you completed the level in, and whatever this time was. So functions that format time, and the time that I need to format is in seconds in the time elapsed variable. So that's all right. And for quick testing purposes, I'm going to change the target pickup amount to something ridiculous like 2. And I'm just going to check how it works right now. And if it works, I'm going to start a new project file, a new iteration, and make an export as well. So you guys can try it if you want, even though the level is still very much a test level. Okay, so I already have 1 crystal. No, sorry, I had to restart it. Okay. Okay, so I definitely have enough crystals right now. And if I go right here, okay, the congratulations stuff appears. Yeah, I forgot to include a space here. But anyway, it looks okay, I guess. I may or may not do this little win condition variable, because the time won't get displayed anymore after the level is complete. So this is fine, I think. Okay, I do want to set the time-elapsed variable's value to 0 at the beginning of the level, however, because if there's going to be more than 1 level, which I'm not so sure of, but hopefully, then I definitely need to do that. So set value, and time-elapsed should be 0 at the beginning of the level. This is the function that gets called at the beginning of the level, at the start of the layout, to be more precise. Okay, so I don't want the timer to be displayed all the time, only on the end screen, the win screen. And I'm also going to add a little space here and change the font size to something a little bit smaller, I think. And also possibly the bigger font size I'm also going to decrease a little. And check how it looks. Gonna go get some dinner. See you later. Thanks for checking in, mice, and bon appetit. I'm guessing that you are eating something that is not sacrilegious like the stuff that Temptic eats recently. Or in the recent past. That's freaking horrendous pizza donut situation I'm referring to, of course. Sorry for mentioning it. Okay, so let me just check the win condition stuff. Okay, congratulations, you completed the level in 24 seconds. This is nice. Hopefully the more than 60 seconds format is also working, but I'm just going to ignore that and not test it because I don't want to spend a whole minute playing the level because I have much more pressing things to do, like the freaking checkpoint. So yeah. However, timer I'm going to check right now. Also, how long have I been streaming? Yeah, we are nearing the 2-hour mark. Do you want to have a break, Tibor? Soon?
We just came back.
It was an hour ago. Or wasn't it?
Sure?
I think it was at the 45-minute mark for the stream, and now it's 1 hour and 45 minutes, so. But no pressure. I mean, if you're alright, I'm still, yeah.
Good.
Okay, good. I'm just going to have a little drink. Oof, sorry. Okay. Are there any new assets that I could import, by the way? No pressure, just asking. Just asking for a friend. What?
Checkpoints. And I'm working on the idle animation.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I could also already import the discharged version, or are you still working on that as well?
That was done.
Okay, cool. Okay, I'm going to get started on that. And this is the checkpoint, and there will be a separate one that is kind of similar or is completely different for the end of the level point.
Yeah, it's something similar.
Good. Okay. So I am going to create a new object for this, but first I promised a new build, so let me just do that. So I'm going to export the current version and put it up on itch. What the It's weird. I was waiting for the Dropbox synchronization icon, but it didn't appear. Never mind. I'm just going to check if the right version is online. So let's refresh the page. Something is definitely loading for the first time, so that's a good sign. F your job. What happened, Flavius? Or did you just finish the work for today and this is like the goodbye for today, for Tuesday? Or did someone get on your nerves? I hope not. Okay, so this congratulations text is alright, but I think I will probably want to add like a little outline to it so it's a bit more readable. And for this, I'm going to check the construct docs because I always forgot how the BB code is named. So I'm just going to go to plugin reference and find text. And there should be like a chapter for BB code right here. Okay, and I need to use the outline back and the line thickness BB codes, I think. So for this, I need to specify a CSS color, just black is fine, or just the hex 000 or something. And yeah, that's about it. However, I will need to do it right here, and also this one, so I can specify the thickness. How do you specify thickness, you might ask? Well, you could use the international notation NIC. Sorry. Oh, of course. Boom. Okay. So is there an outline? Yeah, it's barely visible, but there is. So I'm just going to set it to 6. Why not? And also I'm going to copy this because I will need to add this part of the BB code to the other heads-up display text stuff, which is, yeah, the crystal stuff. I'm just going to search for crystals, and this is where the magic happens, no, but the updating of the crystal heads-up display happens. So now it should have roughly the similar outline. Looking good. I mean, on a dark background it looks alright anyway, but yeah, for example, in this part, it's better that there's an outline. It's a bit more readable. I don't know why the freaking kerning is wrong, because this is a true type font, but yeah, I'm not going to bother with this. So this is okay. Let me check the to-do list. So checkpoint, yeah, I was doing the checkpoint, but I wasn't, because I was making an export, and I will need to bump up the version number to 18 and create a new version of the project file just for good measure. By the way, I do use Git, but not for jam games. Although I do have a script that converts all of these separate project files into an actual Git repository commits. So I do use it after the jam, but I don't do Git commits while I'm doing game jams usually. Okay, right. Okay, so this was exported. This is fine. I will need to import the graphics for the checkpoint. But first, I'm going to create an object that is the checkpoint. So I'm just going to put it right on the object templates layout. I am going to import the frames from this from this animation. There were like 5 frames, I think. Indeed. Okay, so I'll just grab the PNG and drag it right here. Say import from sprite strip, and construct is doing its best to guess the amount of horizontal cells, but it is not doing a good job in this instance. So I'm just going to set it to 5 because there were 5 frames on this strip, and I'm going to import it. So right now it looks cool. I am going to, I think I'm going to leave the origin in the middle. It's okay. And check on the collision polygon. I think this is fine for now, and I'm just going to say default. I don't think it's going to have different variations or anything, so yeah. And also, I'm pretty sure that Tibor wants this to loop, or ping pong maybe, I don't know. And also, do you want to check on the...
It gets discharged.
Okay, so what happens with this?
After you pick it up, it gets discharged. Until then it will sparkle.
Okay, and how do you want this to happen exactly? So it will play the whole thing, or just part of this?
Stops at the last one. At this one.
Okay. Right. Right, okay. So by default, it looks like the first frame, and if the player enters...
I'm making the idle animation.
Oh yeah, you said that, sorry. Yeah, okay. Good. So this is the thing that plays when the player enters it, right?
Yep.
and then it stops at the... do you want to check on the speed? This is 5 FPS, probably too low.
Yes.
So, I don't know, like 15? Maybe that's too much. No, it's all right. Okay, so 12, 10?
10. 10.
Oh, 10.
Good.
Nice. Okay. So once the player uses a checkpoint, they can no longer reuse that checkpoint, right?
No, it's just when you go there and pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
That will be the next thing.
But I mean, if the level is non-linear or something, you can go back, you know, and if you encounter a checkpoint that you previously visited, is it going to be your new checkpoint if you overlap it? Or, you know?
Yeah, it's the door problem.
Is it? It's the checkpoint problem, to be precise, but yeah.
Yeah, but what does a checkpoint door do?
Yeah. Okay, how about we think about this during the next break?
Right.
Okay. So, still have 1 more hour, Flavius. Oof. Okay. I hope that it's going to be a smooth ride. Idiots in this company. Well, all companies have idiots, so yeah. That happens. Sorry to hear that, but yeah. And you also said I marked a section on the floor where there are cables from the machines. I marked it so that nobody goes through there and damage the cables. Just now, an idiot passed through that section with a freaking small forklifter. Okay, that's not great. Now all the cables are broken and 3 machines are not functional. Holy crap. Damn. That's not great. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah. Oof. It's going to be a fun day tomorrow, I'm guessing, as well. Dealing with the fallout. Yikes. Okay, meanwhile, I am going to copy the animation. And also I'm going to name the sprite to checkpoint. And I'm going to resize it, although it doesn't really matter how big it is on this particular layout. But what matters is that I will need to add an animation for the spawner object. Oops, sorry. Okay, so I'm going to paste the animation right here. Once again, construct is screwing with my freaking right click. Okay, so this should be called checkpoint default. I don't need these frames anyway, because this will only you know, function for the spawner. And yeah, so I'm just going to put a few of these on the level, and by few I mean 2. And also checkpoint should be in spawnables, as in the spawnables folder, and I'm also going to add it to the spawnables family, which is kind of important because I didn't do that for the waterfall, and I was like bug hunting for like 20 minutes or something. I'm not going to get into the details, but yeah, it was not great. So I'm going to disable the HUD, select the main layer, and I'm going to place 2 instances of the spawner object. Not a crooked one like this, definitely, but okay, so I'm going to set its animation to, what was it called? Why am I not finding it? Checkpoint default. Okay, sorry, I'm an idiot. Okay, so the checkpoint should go, I don't know, like here. And also I'm going to put one right here. Why not? Yeah. And just to be safe, I'm going to put one here as well and move this closer to the corner. So I'm going to save the project, and also I am going to create a new layer, because all the object types are actually on their corresponding layer, and this is how I deal with Z elevations right now. It's not the best system, but it works once again, and this is a freaking jam game, so yeah. So the spawners, I mean the checkpoints, should always be above the obstacles, I think, and below everything else. So I'm just going to say checkpoints, whoops, caps lock, checkpoints. Flavius, you also said, I ordered the cables. I have to wait for them. Sucks even more because tomorrow we have an audit. Whoops, that's piling on. That's not great. Okay, I'm going to change the size of these a little. Although it might be too small, I don't know. Tibor will hopefully deal with this sort of thing later, so yeah. I'm just thinking how the player should, you know, be scaled compared to this. So okay, I don't know why I started the game because there's no functional checkpoint behavior yet. So okay, I'm just going to do that. I mean, the checkpoints were there, I could see, but yeah, they didn't do anything. Yeah, okay, so we need to decide on this checkpoint behavior. So I think I'm going to suggest a break at this point. Yeah, so we are at the 2-hour mark anyway. I'm pretty sure that my streamer brain is going to set in soon, probably in an hour or something, but I definitely want to stream a bit more. So we are going to have 10 to 15 minute break. We'll try to be quick about it, but yeah, usually it takes 15 minutes, so, or 10, I don't know. Anyway, we are going to be back soon, and I will finish up the checkpoint stuff. And I'll probably, I don't know if I'm going to do the sounds, but yeah, I may or may not continue with the sounds. I will have to do a bunch of tiny changes anyway for Juice and import some more graphics, so I will have more than enough to do. And the aim is to finish the functional version of the game in like 2 hours or something. It's ambitious, but it's doable again. So yeah, we're gonna do that, and then we are going to get into level design, I'm pretty sure, and testing, and you know, making sure that the game is actually in a working condition and not horrendously buggy. So if you can stick around, feel free to do so. We appreciate you. We're gonna go on a 10-minute break, as I mentioned, and we will be right back. So yeah. And we are back from the break, and I think I'm going to try to stream for like 1 more hour or 45 minutes or something, and then I'm going to stop streaming because my brain is getting fried a bit. So even though we have almost 4 hours to finish the game, I'm not going to stream the whole thing because the last part will not be too exciting anyway, because we're just going to do level design. So yeah, that's the plan. 1 more hour about, and then we are probably going to raid the nerds because I'm pretty sure that they are streaming. They probably started, or they are going to start it in 15 minutes, something like that. Okay, so where was I? Okay, so we talked about the checkpoints during the break with Tibor, and we figured that we should assign numbers to the checkpoints, because if the player manages to reach checkpoint and then, for example, they fall back down or something, we don't want them to reactivate a previous checkpoint, because this kind of misses the whole point of checkpoints anyway. So we're just going to go with the last checkpoint, as in the highest that the player reached. So for this, we are going to need a instance variable for the checkpoint object. For one thing, I'm just going to put it right here and call it checkpoint number or checkpoint ID. Checkpoint number, maybe, no. Or just call it ID, because it's already on the checkpoint object, so yeah. And this should be 0 by default, but this is something that I need to actually specify on the spawner as well. So the spawner object should also have an instance variable, which is now called checkpoint ID. And I am going to keep this at 0. I'm going to change this one to 1. And also I'm going to specify 2 for this. And also we talked that the player should start from a checkpoint anyway, so I'm just going to move this and maybe rotate it a little. Like this, and the player should fall right onto this checkpoint at the beginning of the game, and the checkpoint should activate at this point. So what we also need to store is the highest number that the player has reached, I mean the checkpoint ID the player has reached. So I'm going to create an instance variable for the player family as well, called checkpoint ID. It should start from -1, and just as soon as the player hits this one, then the checkpoint should activate and the player's checkpoint ID variable should change to 0. So at first I'm going to deal with the spawner. So I'm going to go here, and also I am going to create a macro for this. So the object type is in a macro as well. So I'm just going to call it checkpoint. And when the spawner is spawning a checkpoint, I also need to pass on the checkpoint ID from the spawner to the actual checkpoint object. So spawnables, no, I screwed this up, I think, a bit, but an additional picking should suffice. So in this case, I'm going to say checkpoint pick by UID, and the UID should be in the spawnables family instance. And now I can say checkpoint set value ID and spawner, I mean spawner dot what the okay, checkpoint ID. So this should make sure that the variable is passed on to the actual object, hopefully. And as this happens, I also need to check for collisions, of course. And I'm contemplating making custom action for setting the player's checkpoint. I'm just going to think about this. Okay. Although, yeah, I'm not going to do that, not right now anyway. So when the player is colliding with a checkpoint, I will need to check if the checkpoint's ID is actually higher than the player's current checkpoint ID. And if it is, then the checkpoint should activate, and maybe the previous checkpoint should disappear. I don't know. I think I'm going to do that right now. So player collision with another object, checkpoint, and then I'm going to check checkpoint compare instance variable. If the checkpoint's ID is higher than the player's player.checkpoint ID, then I will need to set the player's checkpoint ID to the current one. Set value checkpoint ID checkpoint.id. So this means that the highest number will be stored on the player object, and this also means that the player can actually skip checkpoints, and if they go to a higher checkpoint, then the previous ones will still disappear. So yeah, okay, checkpoint ID, okay, this is fine. And also I'm going to destroy the old checkpoints, I think. To do this, I'm going to say pick all checkpoints, and then further pick the checkpoints that have the checkpoint ID that is lower than the current one. So player.checkpoint ID, I'm guessing, and I'm just going to destroy them. Oops. So checkpoint destroy. I'm going to make a little test run. So this is checkpoint number 0. And this is checkpoint number 1. So once the player reaches this checkpoint, then this should get destroyed. In this case, I think. Oh, also, I want to make the animation stuff happen. And also, Tibor told me that he made the idle animation of the checkpoint. So this animation will actually change to activated. And I'm going to create a new animation called default. Make it the first animation. And I'm guessing checkpoint.png is the one that I need, or no? No, it's not. What the?
That's the one. The long one.
I'm slightly confused. I see another one with a bunch of sparks. What does that do?
That just shows that it's powered on.
But one should display?
The idle animation.
That's the idle animation. Okay. Okay, good. Right. And this should play in a loop, right?
Yep.
Okay. Nice. Okay. I'm going to import the sprite strip. I will need to count the frames again because construct is not guessing it right, I think. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 frames. Okay. And so this one, the activation is playing at 10 frames per second. So I'm guessing that 10 should be alright for this as well.
Yep.
And should it continuously play this, or should there be a frame which takes longer when there's no sparks?
Yeah.
And that should take longer, right? I mean, like, it should pause on it a bit.
You could clone it to the end, I guess. That's good.
Right. But maybe I should change the order of these frames because... No. Oh, okay, sorry. Okay. Alright, we are going to need some macros for this. Animations. Whoops. Animatinos, I wrote, but yeah, I'm going to... That sounds like a Catino. Okay, so anim activated. Was it called that? Hopefully. I'm gonna make sure. Yeah, activated. Okay, so this will be the animation that should play after the player hits the checkpoint, the correct one anyway. So that is right here. Checkpoint, set animation, anim activated. Okay, I'm just gonna restart. Okay, so the activation probably happened, but for these, something's off. So the default should play in a loop, and it should play this one. Why is that not happening? I have a hunch. I think I have to, yeah, set it to the default one. Now it should work fine, hopefully. Okay, so this one is still playing, which is good. Now if I hit it, I mean if I can hit it, but I can't. Boom. Did I hit it? I think I did. But yeah, let me just check again. I'm so crap at this. Okay. Almost, but not quite. Yeah, now I hit it, so it went to the other one, and the previous checkpoint is now gone. So yeah, it's rough, but it works. Now, I just need to take care of the whole player dying and respawning situation. And since the previous checkpoints are destroyed, I can probably just teleport the player with full health to the checkpoint with the lowest ID, I think. Okay, so I am going to create a custom action for this on the player family called respawn. And respawning takes care of a couple things. One, I'm pretty sure that I want to stop the player from moving with the physics, so I will just set the vector, or is it not called a vector? What the frick is it called? Velocity? Set velocity, yeah, this is the one. So if I set it to 0, 0, that means that if the player was moving, now it's not moving, because I want to teleport them. And for this, there's an actual teleport action, but I could probably just use set position as well. But yeah, because this is the one that is for preserving the velocity, little help text shows, but I'm zeroing out the velocity anyway, so it doesn't matter. So I can just use set position. And to set the position, I will need to create like either an image point on the checkpoint or use the origin. No, I think I'm just going to, I mean, I totally could do, say, checkpoint X and checkpoint Y, and maybe change the checkpoint's origin, but no. I think I'm just going to go with the separate image point, which I'm going to call player. Whoops. What did I press? Okay. Yeah. Sorry guys if there's a bit of a noise, but we opened the window because it's kind of hot in here, so it might happen. So player is the image point's name, and I'm going to move it up a little. Somewhere here should be fine, I think. And I'm also going to copy this image point to all the animations, so it's in the same position. And since we are referencing image points, I will need to create a macro for this. I'm going to say IP player, or maybe not even player, respawn should be a better name for this. And respawn point maybe, but yeah, this is fine. So I'm just going to delete this checkpoint, and yeah, this is something that I'm not sure if I can properly do, because if I rename it and apply it to all the, copy it to all the frames, I think is going to create a new one. So yeah, let me just do that again. Yeah, this is a bit wonky. There might be a better way to do this, but now it's done. So I'm going to name the image point respawn, and then I'm going to copy it to all the, I mean, if I can freaking type respawn, and it was like -8, not 78, just 8. Okay. And apply to all animations. So, okay, now there should be a respawn animation. I mean, image point. Good. Yeah, I really need to use the freaking bookmarks because I always get confused where I was. So, yeah. Respawning. Okay, so I was doing the respawning custom action. I'm going to mark it with F2, and now I'm going to say checkpoint.imagePointX IP respawn, and do the same for the Y coordinate, of course. So now the player should be teleported to the last checkpoint, but the last checkpoint is not picked yet, so I'm just going to pick it by the lowest value of the ID. Yes. And this should, of course, happen if the player is dead. And if the player is dead, we need to, yeah, we need to check the player's health right here. So when change health happens, it might change the player's health to 0. So I'm just going to make a little check right here, compare instance variable, and if health is 0, and it is clamped to 0, so it shouldn't go below 0 anyway, then the respawn stuff should happen. Although there might be some we might need to add some sort of, I don't know, animation or something, some sort of visual feedback so the player knows that they are dead. But right now I'm skipping this. I'm just going to call the respawn custom action on the player. But I'm also going to make a little to-do right here. Death animation, or once again I wrote animatino. And also I'm going to name the freaking game, because we talked about this as well. And it's going to be called The Adventures of Antennio, because Antennio is going to be the name of the little robot that you control. Okay, so to do death animation, good, okay. And I also need to set the player's health to 100, of course, when the respawn happens. So set value, health, and it should be self.r max health. Right, I am going to give it a go. What are we listening to, by the way? Okay, still Danny Baranovsky, good. Okay, just wanted to check on the state of the playlist. We are nearing the end. Okay, so now the first checkpoint is activated. So I'm just going to go here and die quickly. And boom, I'm back at the first checkpoint, which is cool. And now if I activate the second one, I mean, if I can, let me just restart that. Okay, so now it's activated. And now if I kill myself, the first checkpoint is gone, by the way, so. Because of the little impulses, it's actually quite hard to die, because the impulses are moving you out of the waterfall, which is a good thing, I guess. But anyway, if the player is moving fast enough, then they shouldn't take too much damage from waterfalls. Although something like this might... that wasn't so bad. Yeah, it's alright. That's a good song. I'm just going to try to reach the last checkpoint. Okay, it's alright. Oops. Okay. Please hold. Boom. Okay, checkpoint is activated. So now if I die, I'm just going to go to the waterfall that I used before. Ooh, what a jump. That's nice. Boom, I'm back at the last checkpoint. That's good. Okay, I think it's wonky, it's rough, but it's also feature complete. So I'm going to put a freaking tick right here. Checkpoints are done. And I'm just going to check the to-do list. Yeah. Okay, so it's mostly flair that is left. I mean, sounds for one thing. Changes on the eye. We are going to probably add some more juice here and there with some more particle effects. But it's mostly done. The UI is still freaking horrendous, so yeah, I might do something like changing the health display. Although it's not that bad, I guess. Do you think that we should have a health bar? I mean, right now there's a bar at the top, but we can move it anywhere. Or should there be a health bar or like a text health display or something? What do you think?
I think the health bars width should be similar to.
Mm-hmm. But you mean like, for example, I add a second line below crystals that says health, and there's a health bar right next to it or something?
That could go as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think fine.
Okay. Right. Okay, I'm going to change the music. I'm going to go back to the beginning of the playlist and yeah. Good. So let's do some UI changes. That's always fun. Okay, so crystals are also freaking big, by the way. This is the game over text, so this I'm going to lock for now. I don't think I'm going to change it. And I'm going to decrease the font size a little bit. And I'm going to copy this. And this should say health. And I'm not even going to assign a role to this because this is just a fixed text. It's always going to be the same. And the health bar, I'm going to move right here. That's the plan anyway. Now the health bar has a disadvantage that it's only displaying the current health and not the maximum amount. So I think I might just create a second instance of this and remove the role and change its opacity to something like, I don't know, maybe 50 or I don't know, 30%, and put it in the same place. So this will actually serve as a background. Of course, I'm going to move it to the bottom of the layer, and boom, there's a cheap health bar now. I mean, there should be. So if I get damaged, yeah, it's actually showing the total, the maximum amount, as well as the current amount. I mean, what more do you need? Do you want to take a look at the fantastic UI, Tibor? Because we can move around anything, so this is how it looks. Good. Yeah. Boom. So that's it. No additional feedback, just okay. That's, I mean, it serves the purpose, and that's it.
I have stuff to do. So
should I move it to the top right, or I don't know? It's maybe a little bit weird that it's 2 lines in the top left. I don't know. What do you think? It's fine? Okay.
There are other things that you should.
Really?
Like the voice, noise.
The sounds, right? Okay, yeah, definitely. I wanted to postpone this because I don't really want to stream that, however, because it's going to be noisy, but I could do that. Also, I just noticed that the origin is a bit weird on some of these grip images, the limited ones, so I'm just going to fix those quickly. I'm just going to use my eyes to essentially locate the midpoint of these sprites. And then I am going to copy the frames from here with all the information, including the origin point, and move it to the spawner. So there's no positioning shenanigans going on. So grip limited has a bunch of frames, which I'm going to remove, and I'm going to paste these frames instead. And now it should look a little better, because the player didn't grab the middle of the limited spawners, or spawners grip points, I mean. However, I also noticed that this should start from a different frame. Oh, I'm still at the HUD. Okay, so let's go back to the main layer, and I'm going to set the frame to 3 or maybe 4. Good. There might be side effects to this. It's all right. If it looks bad, then I will set it back to the midpoint. Deal with it some other way by moving probably the contents of the frames. Okay, but now that would just do the same. Never mind, this is fine. Okay, I'm going to rename the project and change some stuff on the menu. The Adventures of Antennio, or Adventures of Antennio, or what do you think?
Whatever.
Oh yeah, I should have guessed. Right, okay.
Okay. Not a big you should get lost in.
I know, but it's still a detail. Yeah, this is super exciting. I'm making a freaking menu. I'm going to make a little informational sheet about the controls. Okay. To grab foliage, this sounds sussy, but that's what happens in this game. So, do you have a better idea?
Grass.
Touch grass. Yeah. Or maybe that was what Mize was referring to, touching grass, possibly, or maybe not. I don't know. Okay, so controls: WSD or left stick to move, mouse or right stick to aim. I'm just going to capitalize this. Space or click, left click, right trigger to grab foliage. Okay. I'm going to remove the click to start stuff. I'm just going to change it to space or right trigger. Beautiful. Adventures of Antennio. By Laser Magnet Games, 4D Hay, 2024 August Gem. Controls, WSD, left stick to move, mouse, right stick to aim, left lick. What? Or space or RT to grab foliage. Should I abbreviate right trigger to RT? Yeah, sure. Everyone knows that. Or if they don't, then they probably don't own a gamepad anyway, so yeah. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to check if the gamepad controls are still working, although I don't think I touched them, but you know, who knows. Why is my gamepad not waking up? Maybe the batteries are dead. Damn it. 1 second. Yeah, possibly. Now, the good question is, do I have spare batteries? Hold for one moment. Yeah, no. Not really. Last time I used them, I was having trouble because they were just pretty constantly disconnecting. So.
Oh. Yes.
No, not really. That's not it. Okay, so I usually keep 2 AA batteries in my bag because I use them in my mouse as well. So hopefully I can just replace the batteries in this bad boy because I'm pretty sure they are worn down. Seemingly it wasn't turning on, so bit of a ASMR session. Probably not, but I try to be gentle. Okay, now it's lighting up, so that's a good sign. Let me just get rid of these batteries. Okay. Also, I'm going to check if Windows actually sees the game controller. Okay, looks good. Right. Good. I'm going to start the game. And I also mentioned I removed the mouse click to start stuff, so I'm going to actually take this part out. So it's either space or right trigger. Yeah, also I think the button A is still, yeah, here, and I'm going to remove it. So grabbing is only possible with the right trigger and not anything else on the gamepad. Right, okay. So I'm going to change the starting layout to menu. And now if I run the game, it should start with the beautiful menu screen that I just knocked together. Come on, Construct. What the frick is happening? Okay, now it's done. My PC is pretty slow, by the way, because it's not really built for this sort of thing that I'm doing. I mean, streaming with OBS on a pretty big resolution while also working on a game. So yeah, right trigger. Okay, so if I press the right trigger, nothing happens, which is not great. If I press space, okay, then the game starts. So maybe the gamepad is sleeping again or something. USB game controllers. It's there. What the frick is happening? And is the right trigger working in the game? No, nothing is working in the game. Maybe I have to press mode on this freaking gamepad? I don't know. It's ignoring me completely. Maybe I have to restart construct. Or I don't know what's happening, but it's definitely not working. Not at the moment anyway. Okay. Yay. The question is that, is there something wrong with my code, or is there something wrong with the Chromium gamepad support, or possibly construct? Probably just Chromium. Okay, I'm going to restart construct. Although I'm not sure if that's enough because there was still a Chromium instance running in the background, so it's not a proper restart if I don't close all the Chromium windows, but let's just try this first. Still nothing. That's great. It's blinking weird, by the way, the freaking gamepad. One of the LEDs are constantly blinking. But Windows did see it, so I have no idea what's happening. I'm going to close Chromium completely. And wait a couple seconds and then start construct again. Leaving work. See you when I get home. Thanks, Flavius. Have a good ride. I hope that you are not too, stressed out about this work stuff that you mentioned. Although, yeah, I would be probably. But, workday is now over. Try to get some rest when you get home. Will. Good. Okay, so there was actually a problem with Chromium, so yeah, that's handy. But this happens from time to time, especially with this gamepad for some reason. I didn't, I haven't really had these issues when I was using the Xbox 360 controller that I usually use, but yeah. Okay, so this is all right. One thing I'm going to change is that restarting the level is now, I don't know if it should properly restart the level by pressing R, or just respawn.
Arnar.
Arnar. Yeah. I think I'm going to change the trigger that restarts the level. I mean, not the key and the button binding, but that is in the other sheet, right? Okay, so this should only be, by the way, in the proper E input sheet, because this is just something that needs to happen when the player is actually on the level and not the menu. Will you still be in about 40 minutes? Well, I'm not so sure, Flavius, but if not, then I think I'll catch you in the nerdy stream. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to stop streaming in like 10 minutes or something, so yeah, I think that's going to be it, because once I finished up with this restarting business, I think I'm just going to go on to sound effects, and that's not something I want to stream because it's going to be noisy and stuff like this, and then it's level design and juicing up, so yeah, this will be off stream definitely. But I will, I think, raid over to the nerds anyway, so I'm guessing I'll catch you there. So these are going off, and instead I'm going to say player respawn. Good. So now if I press start on the gamepad, then the player actually spawns from the last checkpoint. And if I press R, the same thing happens, of course, which is good. Let me just go to full screen for a bit. If I press R now, ooh, okay, a bit of a bug. I am going to fix that. So the player really needs to disconnect if there's any connection in progress, because that is quite wonky. So the disconnection bit happens somewhere here on input grab. Yes. So removing physics joints is definitely something I need to do. Okay, I'm going to do some refactoring. I'm going to create a custom action for the player family. And it's going to say disconnect. I mean, it's going to be named disconnect. And disconnect should go right here. And all of this should be inside that, I think. The question is, if the player is grabbing a grip point that is of the limited kind and they die, does this diminish the grip point? But yeah, why not? I think it should. Although, I don't know, if the player is dead, I mean, I don't know what sort of levels are we going to make, but these limited grip points should really be used in places that the player doesn't really need to reach, like for picking up bonus stuff and stuff like this. Or they need to respawn. That's the other option, I guess. So yeah, player disconnect. Right, okay, so now it's factored out into a custom action called disconnect. Hopefully it's still working. And this I can also call right here. So if the respawning stuff is happening, then the player should disconnect first, and they will of course only disconnect if they are connected to something. But yeah, now it should be better. So if I'm grabbing a grip point, the foliage, and I press R, then the player just zaps back to the last checkpoint. I think this is alright. Okay, I'm going to move back the end of the level object to the top. And I'm also going to increase the amount of the pickups to 20 or something. And I'm going to test a little bit. And in a few minutes, I think I'm going to end the stream because my brain is actually a little bit fried. And although we made good progress, I really prefer to do the last couple hours, 3 hours or something, off stream, because it's not going to be an interesting stream if I, do these little tiny things anyway. And also it's a lot slower if I'm talking all the way through, so yeah. Okay, so I definitely have enough crystals. I just need to get back to the top. That's possible. Damn it. Okay. I'm just going to press R so I get back to the checkpoint anyway. Why am I so crap at this? Okay. Good. Get. Right, okay. So yeah, it's working. The timer is working and I spent more than 1 minute, so now it's in this format, which is cool. And if I press R now, then I still go back to the here. So yeah, okay, I definitely need some sort of state variable that holds if the level is complete. So yeah, I'm going to say is level finished, and it should be 0 by default, and it should also start at every level, at the start of every layout, like this. Time elapsed, yeah, this could stay 0, I guess, because it makes more sense. But yeah, okay, so it resets the timer, it resets the is level finished variable. This is fine. Why is the freaking iPad sleeping, which I'm using to check on the stream anyway? Okay. Connected to phone. Okay, Flavius, don't do anything dangerous while driving, please. Okay, I'm going to finish this part. So is level finished, set to no, but when the player actually makes it to the exit and it's so this check win condition stuff, yeah, okay, so it's right here. So if the, yeah, this is where I show the text, and this is where I also need to say set value is level finished, yes, which is 1. And this variable I can also, you're in the bus. Oh, right, okay, that's good. That's good to know. But you're not driving the bus, right? Hopefully. I thought, for some reason I remembered that you take the car to work, but yeah, maybe I just, yeah. I'm remembering wrong, probably. Or maybe sometimes you do, but right now you don't. That's fine. Okay, so is level finished? Yes. So what I need to do is to this part, restarting the respawning, should only happen if the level is not finished. So is level finished? No. If not, then the respawn should happen. Also, the level should advance to the, I mean, the layout should advance when the win condition happens. And for this, I think I'm going to add like a little crappy either timer or, yeah, timer. And the timer I can start either on the player or on the global object anyway that I used to store the target crystal amount. So yeah, this already has a timer behavior, I'm pretty sure. Yes, because it was called global timer previously. This is the object that I use when I want to start a timer that is not attached to a specific object, but it's not possible in construct to start global timers, so I just create an object called global timer and put it on the layout. That's how I do it. Okay, so two things. I need to create an on timer event, but I also need to create a timer macro, and also I'm going to move this right here. So okay, I'm going to say timer z and call it timer next level, possibly. And it's a string. This is a tag, essentially, in construct. Okay, the iPad is still sleeping. This is weird. Okay, so timer next level should fire when the player completes the current level, which is right here. So I'm going to say global start timer and say like 3 seconds or something, timer next level. And I just need to create an event on the global object and watch for the on timer trigger for this particular timer. And when this happens, I'm just going to lazily say go to next layout. And that's it. So essentially the game starts with the menu layout, and even there I can use go to next layout instead, because this is a little better, because I'm not sure which order the layouts are going to be in, or the levels. So I just say go to next layout, so it will advance to the one after the current one. And the same thing will happen for a couple levels, and I can create a separate layout that says something like congratulations, you've beat the game or something, I guess. Or I just leave the player here, because right now, yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to create a separate layout, but yeah, this should be fine. This should be fine. I'm a passenger. Oh, I hope I don't get a copyright strike for that.
Don't show your nipples. You should be fine.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly, hopefully, traverse the level. Good. Almost. Let me just respawn. And again. And again. Well, this is Twitch Gold, I'm guessing. Yeah. Okay. Freak. Why am I so crap at this? Okay. Because I'm impatient. So 3 seconds and then boom, there's the next level. That's nice. However, on this level, I'm pretty sure I forgot to include this object. So I'm going to put this on this level. Also, some of the layers I forgot. So main pickups grips. Okay. I totally could have used dynamic layers for this, by the way, but I didn't. Grips, decors, obstacles. Okay, waterfalls and checkpoints first. What was the order? Grips, decors, waterfalls, checkpoints. Okay. Waterfalls, then checkpoints. This is for Z ordering only. There are no objects on these layers, but the spawner actually spawns the object types on the corresponding layer names during runtime. That's how it works. It's a weird system and I haven't done anything like this before, and I probably won't, because I should definitely use dynamic layers for this sort of thing and just create the layers themselves during runtime. Dynamic layers are actually quite new in Construct and I haven't used them, but for this purpose I'm pretty sure they would work. So yeah, next time, or possibly tonight, I might clean up a little, but probably I won't. So okay, I'm just checking if I accidentally pasted it into the wrong layer, but hopefully not. Okay, so to the main layer, boom. And in this, I'm just going to say 10. And also on this level, I'm pretty sure there's no target. But I'm going to add one. Oh no, there was one. Good. Oh, by the way, on this level, there's a particle emitter that also does some gravity shenanigans. I mean, physics force shenanigans. And there are also no checkpoints on this one, so I'm just going to do a couple checkpoints. Even though this level is probably not going to make it into the game, because this was definitely for testing only. Okay, so this should be checkpoint ID 0. I'm going to put one right here. Oops. And then I'm really going to finish up the stream, by the way. And then I'm going to put one right here, although that's quite stupid, but yeah, never mind. So checkpoint ID should be 2 on this one. Or maybe I should put it right here. Not that it matters. As I said, this level is probably not going to make it into the game anyway. But a better one will. Okay, so one last check and then I'm off. Also, that's good practice for me. No! Oh, okay, good. 22 seconds, not too bad. Okay, so... Let me just show you this little part. Actually, if I disconnect now, it's pretty good, I think. We'll probably use it in a few levels, probably not the first one. Good, and if I go here, oh shit, I don't have the UI layer for one thing, and I'm also pretty sure that I don't have enough crystals, which is not great. Okay, let me just check something. I mean, quickly do something. I'm going to add the UI HUD layer on this. I mean, it's already here essentially, but not the right one. So I'm going to remove this. And instead, I'm going to create a new layer called UI HUD. And since it is a global layer, then it automatically inherits everything that is on this layout, because this is where the layer is set to global. So if I create a layer with exactly the same name on a different layout, it also says global overridden, which means that I can't put anything on it, or if maybe I can, but it will actually end up on this layout. So yeah. What do you mean? What do you mean, Flavius? I have no idea what you meant. Am I losing? I'm always losing in my own games, by the way. Yeah, this is just how I usually do things. Badly. But with some practice, I'm pretty good. But this is a new game, so that's a bit far down the road for me, I think, to get good at this. It will take a couple weeks, probably. Whoa, almost. Crap. Okay. Good, 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 good. Just what the? Okay, now it's gonna be fine. Whoop, nice. Good. Seemingly working fine. I will need to... Ooh, why do I still have to collect 20 crystals? Did I not change that to 10? I definitely did. Okay, this is a bit weird. Oops. Now the question is that why does it still say 20? This is one more bug that I'm going to fix before I end the stream. So I might have an idea. This is a global object, right? Yeah, it shouldn't be in this case, because this means that the first one persisted. Okay, so it's no longer a global object. I think I can start with this layout and it should now say 10, but just to be safe, I'm going to beat the level one more time, the first one, and then I'm really going to hope that the bug did not persist after this change. Yeah, so because if you have a global object, that means that the object will not despawn at the end of the layout, and it will essentially be there on the next layout as well. You don't have to instantiate it. And that happens, and because of this, there might have been 2 global objects, but the main issue was that the first one was what the game was using to determine how many crystals the player should collect. And yeah, essentially the first level's object made it through, and this caused the issue. Let me just check okay, the checkpoints still work fine. This is nice. I should really grab some more crystals. Okay. Whoa. Oof. Okay. Essentially, I nailed the crystal count on this level, because it really looks like there are 10, and I specified 10, so okay. Boom. Nice. I now have enough crystals to exit the level, so I will just do that, hopefully, if I can. Whoops. Okay, this was a bit weird. No, please don't bounce out. Okay, a good thing that I can still respawn. So there are walls around the level, but they are not high enough, and I just bounce down the level. Okay. Good. So since there are no more layouts, the game just stops here, and I think this is fine. for now. I'm going to create one more export and then call it a day. So you guys can try the current version, although the levels are still crap, but we are going to be working on the levels for the next 2 hours or so. And also the sounds. And then that's it. I'm pretty sure around midnight we're going to submit the game, which is still like 2 hours and 40 minutes away. So we're doing pretty good, I think. We just have to nail the level design, which is not my strong suit, but hopefully it is Tibor's. So good. So okay, the CLI finished. I'm going to refresh the page, and I'm also going to move this to a new page, by the way. So yeah, if any of you guys are interested in the final version, you will be able to find it on my itch.io page or the laser magnet itch.io page. It's going to be on both of them, but I'm going to upload it from this account, so the laser magnet account, which is our little home studio with Tibor. So it's going to be right here, and it's going to be called Adventures of Antennio. Yeah, so that's about it, I think. Okay, so let's just check if the latest version is running. Menu should show up. Yeah, it does. Clicking doesn't do anything, which is good. I'm just going to check the gamepad controls. Whoa, they're working. That's nice. Okay. Respawning is working as well. And it really should, because I'm crap. Okay. It's actually a bit easier for me with the gamepad, I think. Or maybe not. But it feels better because of the because of the analog sticks. I just like using them. All right, I'm pretty sure that this is the latest version, so I'm going to end the stream. Thanks to everyone who joined and participated in any case, in any way. But for now, I think I'm going to finish because, yeah, we still got some work to do and my brain is fried. I can't really narrate anymore. So thanks again for joining in, and I'm going to raid the two nerdy nerds because I'm pretty sure they are streaming right now. So let me just set this stuff up. For some reason, their stream is not showing on my iPad, but yeah, okay, now it is. Good. Right, okay, so we are going to raid the two nerdy nerds. I'm pretty sure that there's not many people here, but in any case, if you don't know them, they are a super cool couple who are working on a nice Cat Cafe game in Godot, and they are very close to publishing it or releasing it. So we are just going to head over and check on their progress. Yeah, and they are super fun, and it might get farty at times, but that just happens there. So yeah, I'm gonna start the raid. Ooh, someone in the last minute. Anna James Arts, hi there. We are just finishing up, so see you over the nerd. Bye-bye now.